Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 75 entitled Hereafter. So, we already evoked, this is the fourth video, they are all independent, but for the first one we talk about the passage, let's say, the trespass. Second one we talk about the intercessors, the links, the medium and so on, with the spirits, the invisible world. Third, we talk about the reincarnation. Today we're gonna go further, we're gonna talk about transincarnation, transgenealogy, and consciousness with a capital letter. Okay, so we're gonna go quite far, and we will evoke as well some practice as well, some tools, for instance, family constellation, also soul recovery. Okay, I will teach you slightly. I will explain you how does it work, and also I will give you some practice and some exercise if you want to apply it for your own life, and also the notion of soul reading. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's start. And by the way, it's funny because I wanted to say we're gonna try to have the feet anchored in the Mother Earth, and also the mind in the stars. By the way, you know, in French, stars, astre, and être, the verb being, being is the same etymology. So it's probably linked, okay? But anyway, just when I was young, I was 6 years old, I had like a bing bang of consciousness. I had an insight, literally. You know what was it? It was very simple. I was on a field in the countryside with my family. Our roots are in the east of France, and I was with my father, lay down, and it was in August, so it was hot, and we were observing stars. Okay, and I had, by the way, for the link with aliens for the next series of video, I had a proximity with Pleiades always, and also Orion, and especially Sirius. Anyway, a word to wise for next video. So, but literally, it just said to me something very, very simple, for which Einstein said the past, the present, and the future are just an illusion, even if it seems to be real. So the timeline, the arrow of time is an illusion, but it's necessary. Okay, otherwise, if everything happened at the same times, how do you want to catch? How do you want? You need to unfold the events into space and time. Okay, you need to have in between events a space between both, and for reaching one of them, you need a duration for that. This is the notion of space-time. So he said to me, what you observe now, for example, this star, okay, maybe it's the distance with us is 10 years, light years, okay? So what does it mean? What you see now, okay, is the light emitted 10 years ago. If the star is dying right now, we will know it only in 10 years. It will continue to emit, not continue to emit, but time to receive this information. So it's completely, it was a revolution in my mind, because I said to myself, imagine we send a probe, for example, capable to give us back the image of the dinosaurs, for example. We could see at the present time some past, and actually this is what the scientists do when they send a probe, for example. It's like when you throw a stone into water, okay, you have waves like this. It's exactly this, for example, they are catching the waves of, for example, Big Bang and so on, the birth of universe, and it's still not tangible, okay, visible like us now, but there is still this information, which is possible to decode. I don't think it's the good term, but like you retranscript into holograms, which is the notion of the illusion of the reality. Okay, everything is energy, everything is data, information. So, the space-time, so events take place in space and are separated, I told you, by space and duration to get from one space to another in just an illusion. You know, it's like the illusion of the unfolding. I mean, this, you have the perception, I'm moving and so on. But it's just each second, okay, you have a superposition of 24 pictures, okay? If you do film, if you know all about movies and so on, is that. I told you about my great experience, astral journey in 2001, okay? I just literally had an expansion of consciousness, and I was feeling, okay, the universe within me, or outside, I don't know, but it was much more than this. And I saw space-time like 360 degrees, but even more, because it was like a sphere entangled, like the flower of life. And actually, this was like dominoes, you know, and pill like this. And it was, for example, the whole time, all the sceneries superposed. I mean, different options and different realities, like timelines, and also the notion of superposition of states, like the multiverse. We're gonna go progressively. You know, when you do a cartoon handmade, you know, when you are young, for example, you draw one small fellow, and then you just you change a bit the draw, and then you do like this. It gives an illusion of movement, right? Life is like this. Life is like this. And by the way, for example, you take a book, page 100. You read page 100. The page 99 is still there, right? And 101 is still there, right? So, I love this sentence. Consciousness is God present in mankind. Who said that? Victor Hugo, French writer, and a very great esoteric and mystic. We have to make the difference between consciousness with a capital letter, okay, the great all, God, the source, whatever you call it, and the consciousness with a small c, okay, which is your filter, okay, to avoid that everything arrive at the same time, okay, if everything arrive at the same time, okay. We're going to continue why it's so important. The first 5 metaphors. The first one is something I was dreaming, and I would have liked, because when I was 12 years old, I loved, you know, graffiti, you know, tags, beautiful one, I like painting. And I was thinking it would be great if someone very genius could do it on a wall of you know, a subway. But not like normal pictures or draws, but like entangled image. Okay, so when you watch like this, it doesn't represent anything, but only if you go with a movement like this, you could see an animation. You need to do that also to make the movements. But so imagine this. It's a metaphor, of course. The first, in the line 1 of the subway, you have a scenario, the cat is eating the mouse, okay? So you watch it like this. 10 minutes later, another train, subway, pass at the same time, reactivate the scenario, the scene, and so on. And always, always, always. And then you have line 2, the cat is sleeping and the mouse is dancing, and the line 3, it could be, I don't know, the mouse eating or biting the cats, I don't know, anyway. And you have an infinite number of lines of subways, and actually you reactivate them always, 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 always. So you're gonna think, yeah, but actually it's not like a movie. Life, we are living it, we are in it, right? That's true. Except that your vision is, you know, if you do that, you see things in 2D, okay? To have the notion of 3D, you need to have, I mean, 2 eyes, and that's why they're separated like this, 12 centimeters, to create this notion of 3D with the illusion, okay? That's, you're separated, but you are containing things. If you see a tree, where is the tree? It's there, right? But for you, where is it? Is here, in the hypophyse. Okay, hypophyse in English. What is it? There is pictures. If we check like a neuroscientist, there is absolutely no pictures. There is only okay. It's just in the biology. It's just it's electricity, is energy, and actually then your brain recreate an hologram. That's why this is completely an illusion. Okay. So, but it's fascinating because it would be like you have I don't know, a special virtual reality, and so you watch the movie of life, and you have the feeling too that everything exists, and everything exists, but not at the same level that we think. Well, let's try to go further. Metaphor 2 is, imagine you're 30. Okay, could you give me some water? Okay, and instead of giving a bottle of water, I open up a dam, okay, a dam. So you have this like water. What's the result? You die, okay? The fact to just open up a little bit the dam, okay, eventually you can just have to like when you do it in your home, huh? If you take from the, I mean, not a bottle of water, you adjust a filter, and you can just fill just a glass. Okay, so this is a metaphor. Let's continue. If you watch a movie of 2 hours, you accelerate. You know, you have a function on YouTube. You accelerate by 2. Okay, so this is completely okay. You can follow it. I do it many times, very often. It's 1 hour, not movie, more documentary, but or podcast. You can follow. Okay, no problem. Multiply by 4, it's 30 minutes. Okay, you can still follow, but it's limit. 8, impossible, but it's 18 minutes, 15 minutes. Then if you multiply by 16, is 7 minutes and a half. And if you multiply by 6,000, 1 second. Can you watch a movie accelerated by 6,000? You don't understand anything. Okay? Why? Because you receive as a quantum of information, okay, a block of information, and you don't unfold, you don't filter, okay? You don't unfold the information into the space over the time. Okay, it's like, you know, the carpet, and then you unfold the carpet, and you can admire when it's containing everything. You cannot, let's say, admire the draw, for example, and then you can. So imagine this same metaphor. You watch 2 movies at the same time, whatever the speed. Okay, for the moment. 2, it's okay, but you will lose something. 3 is more difficult. 4, I don't think it's possible. And 8, 10, 100,000, and so on, it's impossible. But if you have all of them accelerated by 6,000, for example, you have the Big Bang, okay, of the information. So that's why this is the consciousness with a capital letter, the great all, the great wall, everything, okay, wall, W-H-O-L-E. That's why I say universe is when you feel this, but it's impossible. It's not human. You need to separate, to filter. I told you many times, existing means literally in Latin, the origin, the roots is separate. You need to separate, to unfold this block of information. Third metaphor is the imagining a building, 21 floors. Okay, so the last floor is now. Okay, 21st century. 50th floor is Da Vinci, the discoveries of new worlds, Inquisition, and so on and so forth. Then ground 0 is Jesus Christ period, -5 is Buddha, and so on, Plato, and so on, -5, -6, okay, Greek philosophers, okay, so, but they are still, they cannot see each other, okay, because of the floor, of course. They cannot see each other in between the different houses, okay, because there is a wall, right? This is a metaphor of consciousness. this one familiar, I mean, one scene is just your life, okay, one life, okay, another one, and so on, so far, okay, but they're still existing at the same time, still, okay. This is transincarnation. Is the fact that maybe you are part of, you are at the 21st floor, and in parallel you soul containing another incarnation, which is still be, okay, from Da Vinci, from I don't know who else, Abraham Lincoln, and so on, and you're still vibrating. But of course, you cannot watch at the same time. It would be really, I mean, impossible to follow. So, in parallel of that, the building, okay, we can see, okay, we want to do an extension. So we're gonna create, rebuild, okay, to extend, to do an extension, 22nd, 23rd, 24th flowers. Okay, so conceptually is already in the mind of the architect, the great architect, the world too wise, and he materialize the, let's say, the patterns, the mapping through his, I mean, his drawing, and then we are producing, and then you will have it. So you have in potential. So what does it mean? It means that the future already exists. The futures exist already. Then there is a notion of superposition. Superposition means you have the building, and then you have another building, like a copy-paste, okay? Building, but you don't see them, okay? It's the scene with other options. You exist, you coexist. In the notion of multiverse, you are a little you in all the potentiality. Except that it's up to you to decide what you want to vibrate, to access to that. I told you many times, Einstein say, match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot stop getting it. Is not philosophy, it is science. I repeat again, match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot stop getting it. Is not philosophy, it is science. I invite you, you meditate, you vibrate, you access to that. You access to this reality or another, okay? But you coexist. It means that those, I said that many times for 5D experience and the transition and so on, new era, I referred to the key 67, if my memory is correct. Anyway, it's gonna be the big collapse and the end of the world and the battle, and this is really darkness. I exist there, so I have a duplication of me as Aurélien, okay, also there. But personally, my consciousness, I'm gonna vibrate in the luminous one. So I don't care to coexist in all the other parallel multiverse. What I just want is to be here now in the luminous one, in the lightly one. So those who likes me, I invite you, let's go. You understand the point? And this is multiverse principle. This is not spirituality now. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. This is the metaphor I already talked in the past. Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio, okay, is an actor. Let's consider the actor. It is the notion of his soul. Okay, the notion of his soul means that he incarnated different roles in his different movies. Inception, Wolf of Wall Street, The Beach, Titanic, and so on and so forth. Okay, imagine that you are in a plane, you know, there is screens for each individual screens. Okay, so he's watching Inception, he's watching Titanic, he's watching, and so on. Ah, he's quite active tonight, DiCaprio. Okay, so, but in parallel of that, there is a deferred time. He can start to watch Titanic and he's finishing Titanic, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so, and in other planes, other people, and on the ground, sorry, some people are probably watching now, and so on. Parallel of that, Titanic exists as the version we know it, and in a parallel where the Titanic never seen, okay, a third version could be, I don't know, the character of DiCaprio missed the boat, so there is not the love story. They never meet in the boat because it's big, so they never meet. The entire crew, I mean, the all members seen and they all die, so we never heard about the story, and so on and so far. I can continue like this. Actually, the word, I mean, this multiverse is entangled, like flower of life. I told you, if you want to visualize like a torus, point of singularity, okay, like this in 3D and also in the other sense. That's why we will see in this center of gravity, sorry, this of singularity, the notion of black hole in the second video, because I will refer to my very good friend Caroline Cory, for which I really explain her movie, which has received rewards from Los Angeles and so on, and is just amazing. She discovered something great that I will tell you later. Yeah, this is a kind of revolution, because even the US government contacted her recently. So, yeah, it's black hole. She discovered a gate. We'll talk about the gates in one of the videos of aliens. But actually, so this movement is, you know, Pascal says something very important. He say, we don't know what he's talking about, but he say it is a sphere for which the circumference is everywhere and the center, no, sorry, the sphere is everywhere at this, no, is, sorry, the circumference is everywhere and the center nowhere. Okay, I invite you to meditate. Okay, I do it again. It's a sphere for which the circumference is everywhere and the center nowhere. And this is a point of singularity. And this is not only a sphere, a torus, is like a flower of life in torus, containing fractal and holographic. Fractal means it's ramification. Okay, I invite you to check what is fractal Google image. Okay, Mandelbrot is a scientist. It is the technology to use computers. Okay, so but this is a little bit like this. That's why we contain the word and the word contains us. Okay, when I say universe, Y-O-U, universe, within you individually and then collectively. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean within a drop. This is from Rumi, the great Sufi. All the philosophy from Upanishad, in the mysticism, in Hindu and so on, in Hinduism, sorry, whatever the esoteric branch, it's always the same thing. This is resonance. As above, so below. As below, so above. This is this. So, concretely, why all this? The transincarnation, it's because there is a common thread and also a resonance. I gave you, for transgenealogy, I gave you, there is entanglements. Okay, let's see this tree. This tree is like a mother soul. The tree, okay, contain different branch, okay, different branch, which could be, let's say, some soul families, okay, different souls, and then the different smaller branch could be one soul, okay, and this branch could have different leaves, and these leaves correspond to your whole incarnation. All are fed by the same sap, okay. It is the same, okay, coming from the roots. Though this would be mother soul, but still vibrating at the same time. And then there is this tree, and there is this field of consciousness. Let's say there is a connection with the roots, okay, with magnetism and also with mushrooms and so on. There is amazing, fantastic collaboration within them. Imagine this is an infinite forest. And this is actually what we are living now. That's why it's an era of change, because we are, when I'm talking about 5D, 3, 4, 5, there is 6, 7, and so on. This is not really correct. We are living now the multidimensionality What does it mean? It means that the 5D is already vibrating. It's accessible, guys. It's just a question to download and or to activate it. And then you shift and you shift and you shift. You know, when I was 7 years old, something like 7, 8 years old, I was thinking and feeling that we were shifting like some jumpers, shifting, for example, from one life to another. Always. Always. So, for example, I just arrived freshly now, imagine, I just arrived now, and then I still have the memory of all my life, okay, my memories and so on. I started this video, I did other videos, and so on. I am me. I became just Aurélien. I am, okay, Aurélien Milo. So, this is the notion of the consciousness experience itself, oneself, through us individually. The oneness is that. I hope you understand. But this is, you know, the twin flame, the soul mate and so on. This is the fact that this is a kind of collaboration. There is a collaboration, and also this is a teamwork. You know, let's imagine we do brainstorming. Okay, we're gonna create a scenario of a piece of theater, a movie. Okay. And then we are doing the casting. Okay, so who wants to be the good guy? Oh, the hero. Oh, yes, I want to be, oh, no, me, and so on. Okay, who wants to be the evil guy? Oh, no, I don't want to be. And so, okay, we need the evil guy because otherwise there is no movie. Huh? Sometimes the soul is volunteer to experience something apparently bad. Okay. To choose, to show us what we don't want. How do you know what you are and what you want if you don't do the experience of what you are not? Okay, think about that. So all is an orchestration, and there is also a long-term, because there is no timeline, I told you. So sometimes we plant and it's blossoming for other lives later on. I take the basic example, Yeshua, Christ, Jesus. Okay, he planted individually 2,000 years ago. But most of people just focus not on the messages, I mean the essences, but more not on the messages, but more on the messenger. Like, oh, it's a divine God on earth and so on. But he has been so frustrated that people just focus on the finger of the wise mind showing the moon instead of watching the moon and trying to be that, because it says several times in the Bible, and I explained that in the Christ dimension video 70 or 71, video number 71, I think. You say, you will do better than me. So it's just an example. He gave an example, a techniques, I mean, some teaching just for transmit that. It is a transmission. His mission was just to transmit, and that people not only see, wow, bravo. No, do it. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So, petit message. I hope you will be not disturbed. This is an invitation. I'm outside in a Muslim country, so I hope you can hear properly. I don't want to cut to interrupt, so sorry about that. Because it has to be spontaneous as well. So I was saying that, yeah, the comeback of Isa, Jesus, for Muslim, by the way, it is this. This is activating within us this divine part. So he planted at this period of time. Then we see how it has been perceived. The first Christian has been tortured, destroyed, and so on. Then, due to Roman Empire, there is some conquers, some horrible things. Then the new world, this destroying a lot of indigenous people and so on. So, on behalf of God, this is just incredible, because it's absolutely the whole contrary of the message of Christ. So he planted for now. For blossoming now. The tree of life is blossoming now. This is the Christ period for most of the religions. Even Islam, the comeback of Isa for us in Islam means literally that. The fact is not a guy coming from the sky, it is the whole population activating, not ignoring their religion necessarily, they're just activating the divine part to let express itself. This is the most important. You know, in the notion of the book I wrote, and I will refer to it because it's gonna be lasting 3 minutes, so maybe I have no clue if you can hear it very loudly and you cannot hear my voice at the same time. So yeah, maybe it's better I interrupt. Let's come back. So it's like this. It should be like this. All right. So I don't apologize because it's like this. It's part of the game as well. It's fate, maktub in Arabic. Well, let's continue. I wrote this book, which is in French only. If someone is bilingual and is okay for helping me to translate, I mean to edit, because I can translate, but then to edit, let's contact me. But in French is 27 hours. Okay, it's download and automatic writing. So anyway, so there are different characters, and I give you example like this, you will understand things. For example, the great father was involved in the First World War, so he's traumatized, is completely destroyed, so he became alcoholic and so on. So then there is an impact on the grandfather, okay, for which in this education he had an impact on the father of the main characters, okay? He became a work alcoholic, okay? All what the materialism of the society and so on can embody, okay? And then he gave an education to his son and an example. He was not there, but anyway. And the main character is Adam, of course, the first human, referring, and actually, this is, he doesn't know, he's completely lost, he's losing his grandfather, he was a good friend of him and so on. So he's a bit lost, he's gonna start his career of doctor, but he doesn't know really, I mean, he did that because his mother is in the coma, okay, for 20 years. Okay, so he knows that she will never come back, and by the way, he say that he would prefer that she can be released, okay? And by the way, he will learn that the soul is already over, I mean, for a long time. But anyway, thanks to the shamans. Okay, so he doesn't know, and then randomly, by coincidence, because he doesn't believe in anything, he will go to shamanic retreats in Mongolia, then to India, then to be taught about Ayurvedic, and then to China for Chinese medicine and so on. And he re-elaborates this. He will create at the end of the book let's say like a new kind of hospital, teaching and also healing, but with preventive instead of only curative. Okay, mixing modern, let's say, medicine and also traditional, alternative, and so on, so on, by radiation, sounds, frequencies, and so on, so far. If you understand what I try to say you. So, but all the scenarios of the 4 generations, even the link they had because they had been destroyed by the war and so on, they reconnect. For example, his wife, he met her, she's half Lebanese and German as well. And the institute, they will do it in Germany, in Freiburg, in German. Frei means free. Frei, it's Anglo-Saxon, right? And Burg is like a burg. It's a kind of a city, okay? So, but it's fictive. It doesn't exist. Freiburg exists in Switzerland, but not in Germany. But anyway, so, and because there is animosity also between France and they inherit of that. They inherit due to the DNA, the lineage, and so on and so forth. The education in France and in Germany, the government taught people, they educate. I remember the books of my grandfather, grand-grandfather. They were treating German like the worst enemy, and they were doing exactly the same in Germany. And it's incredible when you see just after the Second World War, oh, suddenly they became our best friend and so on, which is ridiculous to use and to manipulate people like this and folks. They are innocent. This notion is very frustrating because it's so easy to manipulate and to shape the mind of people and then to, suddenly let's forget and so on. That's why there is some conflicts everywhere for so long time, and we have to understand that now it's over. The game is over, and it was not a funny game. So, but what I try to tell you is all was necessary. All what's happened in the book, I mean, and in life in general, was necessary is a teamwork. All them are a character embodying something for, at the end, create this institute for which is inviting you to reconnect through other books. A guy doing that for Spirituality Holistic Center Retreat, okay, in Bali. And then another one doing that for science, and then they're gonna reconnect everything for having a holistic vision to help to participate at their own scale, to reconnect the world through platform and so on, just to facilitate accelerating the process of transition. Despite the fact, I told you many times, the 5D already vibrating is waiting for you, for us. We vibrate in love and so on, we're already there. And we will materialize, we will credit energetically much more. So it will go more and more in density. A word too wise. I wanted also to tell you, to depict one very archetypal example of this book, not for the book and for the promotion of the book. By the way, they're all free, so I'm not making money with this book. My 16 books are free. 4 of them are available in English, by the way. And I pay for the translation, the editing. So imagine, so I pay people to be read. Okay. There is one character is very interesting. She's, to make it short, she's Brazilian. Okay, bon. She was an Amazon. Okay, so she has been adopted because her parents has been killed due to other horrible people, just focusing, lawless people focusing on money and the industry of wood. Okay, so they have been killed because they was in the jungle and so on. So she has been placed in Belo Horizonte in a family. Except that there is superposition of the father was black, so former slave, so in the DNA it's still completely traumatized, so he's alcoholic, he's super violent, he punch her all the time and so on, he torture her. Mother, same, she's completely she's Dutch, incarnating the lineage of the history also of Holland and the first emancipation of the the industry of the colonization, the stock market and so on. What we inherit today, the kickoff was coming from Amsterdam initially. I'm not saying the Dutch are responsible, I'm just saying this same. I can say many things about France. Did I do something for that? Yesterday I was talking, there are a lot of Russian people and so on. I asked gently, where are you from? Russia. And the guy was a little bit shy and so on. You know, France won the World Cup. It was not me. Okay, what's the horrible thing France did for colonization? It's not my fault. It's not my ancestor neither. Okay, so same for those, as for Germany, they didn't do anything for the war. Why they have to excuse again and so on, and also not all the population was Nazi and so on. So, but anyway, we really need to stop this kind of stigmatization. Otherwise, this is a hold-up from a minority of people. Most of people in the world are victims of the, let's say, the big hand. Okay, the big hands, and especially for politics, Well, more seriously, I mean, if it's very serious, so she has been, she has been 2 years in a orphanage, then adopted by a French family, very Catholic and so on, gentle in appearance, but the father was raping her and so on and so forth. 18 years old, she left the house, she's in bad hands, prostitution, drugs, and so on and so forth. So 30 years old, she does an overdose. She's placed, she stayed nine years like a zombie, but always walking in cycle like this, designing flower of life, only in the garden. And then suddenly, poof, the light went back. And why? Because it's explained. She was a walking. She had help for another soul to help her, and so on. But anyway, the shaman explained her that she, in this life, she came back for cleaning everything. Okay, to purify, discharge all this bad energy from the past. And now she's 50 years old. And she's completely in harmony and so on. She has been taught and she teach now. She transmits, okay, spirituality, different keys for people to emancipate, to develop themselves, to be more peaceful and so on. So she has her mission now, and she's gonna be very happy and so on. But she's explained about her different incarnation. So just 12 of them, just for you as an example, is very important. She has been a member, active member of Sadducees. Okay, this is a branch of Jewish priests who organized let's say the murder of Yeshua, Christ, first. Then, secondly, so you say only 12 significant for you to understand the logic and the chronology of your different, because every time is like this and on the other extreme sense. So then she has been an active member of Roman legions and did the massacre of the Jews in 70, okay, and destroying the temple of Jerusalem. So then she punished the Jewish, and before she was Jewish, you know, she's always doing extreme. Third, she's one of the first Christian of the Church of Antioch here in Turkey, crucified, martyred, and so on and so forth. Then, fourth, she has been first Christian of Rome, same again. She has been thrown to the lions and so on in an amphitheater. Then she has been extreme, like a revenge. Five, she has been the first crusaders, okay? So bloodthirsty, okay? So she did a lot of massacres of pagans, destroying all forms of impious and Saracens. Then six, she was a Templar, okay? So killed in the Friday 30th, okay, of the year 1307, okay. If you want to know what is a Templar, I invite you to do your own research. 7, you were an inquisitor in Portugal, okay, an advisor, and advising Kathleen, the Catholics, to be more violent in the Inquisition with torture and assassination is due to her. And then she was launching the conquests of evangelization, okay, exploration and killing or forcing the local population to convert and so on. Then she was, because of her advice, there was the exclusion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal. Okay, so leaving to Brazil, leaving to Morocco, North Africa, or to Amsterdam a lot, and so on. And actually, there are loops always like this in her different incarnation. And by the way, they exclude because of the Zohar, the text explaining the Kabbalah. A word to wise. 8, she was accused of being witchcraft. Okay. because simply she was picking some mushrooms in Britain. She was a Celt. Then she were close to Galileo, okay? She was in love with a man close to Galileo, for which his beautiful luminous ideas never have been recognized. And he has been, let's say, killed also due to Inquisition. The second life, okay, she incarnate as Lavoisier, okay, Lavoisier, for which she downloads and she, let's say, resuscitated the discoveries of this previous lover she had. Okay, so this is always linked. 11. She was a priest in the mid 18th century, very against Allan Kardec, okay, for Spiritism, and due to that, it's accelerating the process of spreading Allan Kardec and the Spiritism. And then, second, last incarnation, she was promoting Spiritism, okay, Allan Kardec theory and so on and so forth. So, what I try to explain through that is the fact that everything is entangled and through one life to another one. So they are still vibrating, but that's why it's really, we are invited to clean up this. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is true, and this is something we discover. My wife killed me several times in my other life, and I did many bad things also toward her, or toward him. Sometimes I was a woman and so on. Now, we are so peaceful, huh? Do I reproach her that? No, because there is space, time between both, right? If the kick I received or I gave when I was 5 years old and I cried or he cried and so on, do you think the guy reproach me again, or I reproach? No, I'm laughing. It's okay, you know. So we are invited to transmuting the bad energy into light. This is operational alchemy, and I invite you really to think about that. You know, let's go a little bit further. I talked to you about the family constellation. Is that a family constellation, if you have the chance to do one? This is concretely, how does it work? I did one with my wife. There is 10 people, maybe, they are all medium channels, and they embody a character very important for your life. Lineage and so on, your grandfather, your mother, whatever. Can be also a country. For example, if the conflict, I don't know, between China and Japan, maybe one, if he's doing that is Chinese, maybe someone will embody Japan and so on, just to discharge. And the fact to play the roles and so on, it creates something energetically, affectively, and so on. You know, when I do some in management, for example, even in my company or in general for people when I teach empathy and so on in the orphanage of Bali, I do a lot of piece of theater like this, like scenario. Okay, you play the role of the other one and you try to exchange, like musical chair, to understand the perception and so on. And this, whew, you explain concretely and you experience what the other perception and so on. We are invited to be everywhere, everybody, and endlessly, to understand and even to instance the great wall and the great all, and to try to discharge this. And the second thing I wanted, tool I wanted to talk is soul reading. A soul reading, to make it short, this is a person, a very good friend of mine is, she's not English speaker, sorry, but you can find. So concretely, she's connecting to, she's listening what her soul is reading from the soul of someone, to indicate where are the problems linked to lineage, I mean families and so on, or former incarnation and so on. So, and sometimes you don't know why, but you are always repeating the same mistakes or the same events because you are vibrating that, and it is a way to cut this stuff. There is another one as well I wanted to talk about, is the soul recovery. What is it? This is what I've been taught when I was in Mongolia, in the holistic, in the shamanic, journey. Concretely, what is it? To make it short, you identify already the problem that you have with someone, for example. I give you an example because it's explaining exactly. So, concretely, for example, my grandfather, I didn't know him. He suicide, okay? I never met him. He had a very bad life. He had a good job in Paris and so on. He has been put in a camp in Germany. Then he escaped, but when he came back, wife was cheating him with a German soldier, and she denounced him, so he was trapped again. So he escaped to a small city in east of, and otherwise I would be not here to talk about that. But anyway, and he passed away, he suicided and so on. So, but his death was never recognized. I remember I just discovered he was not a cancer. He passed away, but due to the suicide. So it was like, we don't talk about the death. And also we could never talk about him and so on. So imagine the frustration. This poor guy had a very bad experience. And after the death, nobody wanted to recognize, like, ooh. So I was a volunteer when I came incarnate to say, okay, give it to me, we're gonna do it together, we're gonna transmute it. It's time to do it now. So, how is the process concretely, if you want to make it sure? You just feel, okay, the person through your heart and also your plexus, okay? And you just feel this person, you visualize, okay? And you explain to this person, okay, I understand your situation, it was horrible, thank you for the teaching. I don't want this at all. I free you up as much as I free myself, okay? Thanks to God, if you believe in God, of course. But, and you do it 20 days or 20 nights before sleeping. And then you're gonna separate some, it's not separate, you're gonna clean up something. You're gonna clean up, his own entity, for him maybe to go further and higher, and yourself as well. And this is extremely important. We are invited here to do it for everything. Well, this stuff about, this is teamwork. There is no judgment. Everybody play perfectly his role in the piece of theater that we call life. Okay, the evil, the devil, and so on. Yeah. Okay, fine. Love, light is the only way to go further, okay? And to go to access to something which is already there. The true I am is God experiencing itself, herself, oneself maybe. And we are invited to find back this oneness through us, individually, collectively. And that's why I would say more, instead of I am, I would say more it is, okay? Or one is, okay? If you see the difference. As you know, when you have this, you know that emptiness allows you to access to fullness, okay? When you find this point of singularity, the famous samadhi, when you forgot what you are concretely, individually, the ego, you are diluted in the immensity. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean within a drop. You know, reincarnation exists and coexists. We are everything at each moment. And that's why in Islam we say there is no God but God. There is no God but Allah. What does it mean literally? It means there is only God. There is only God. All this is the manifestation of the consciousness experiencing itself through us individually because, let's be a little bit funny. This is difficult to be all, to be the great all. And because it's a full-time job. So omnipresence, omniscience, and so on, you have to be everywhere at the same time. You need secretaries, you need ambassadors, you needed some, let's say, some collaborators that we are embodying. Okay, we are relays, okay, and that's why, let's say, this is the reason why I'm always saying to exist means literally to separate, okay, so it's collaboration. When I say it's collaboration, it's very deep. I like to say just, because when you empty, I mean, you welcome the presence with a capital letter. I like to say, if you can think about it, not to understand, but to feel it, to understand. All exists already, and all ready to exist. I invite you to think about it, and I hope all these elements will help you to shape the master key, to open up the doors of consciousness, of love, of what you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome, and to the Dome, and to the home. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.